Maybe. Okay. Okay. So I want to just welcome everybody that's just joining us. Again, we're waiting for more folks to register to join us. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So Jess has got it working. Yeah, so welcome everybody. We're just waiting for people to join in for the dinner with the doctors. Hear my dog in the background. He's very excited. We're getting started here. Charlie, he just got a bath. He's extra handsome. So I am coming to you from Be Optimal Holistic Health Center, which is a place that for healing, for people of all ages. Our goal is to bring out people's best self, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. So I opened the center 11 years ago. My name is Dr. Cari Jacobson. I opened the center 11 years ago with the vision for chiropractic kinesiology, which is what I practice, massage therapy, foot detox, light therapy, psychotherapy, whatever it is, and different classes and ways to bring community together. So my goal is really to help people discover and explore what really works for them, what speaks to them, what moves their soul, what awakens them, what allows them to be in balance, because I believe that when we're in balance, we thrive. And one of the ways that I choose to give back is a way that was given to me when I was a student and even before I became a student, which is to offer an opportunity to educate, because doctor in Latin means to teach. And so I'm very passionate about educating and giving people tips and tricks and tools and different things that whether you ever walk in the doors of Be Optimal, your life can be shifted and changed for the better. And so once a month, myself and Dr. Abby, usually the second Tuesday of the month, will offer a dinner with the doctors. And then our Chinese medicine doctor, Dr. J.R. Hayes, will offer that on the last Tuesday of the month or the fourth Tuesday of the month. So be sure to tune in. We're always doing different topics and ultimately wanting to educate you on the foundation of how we move and how we work, and just giving different perspectives of how the different doctors in our office work. So I myself am a chiropractic kinesiologist. And what that means is that the base of my work is applied kinesiology. And applied kinesiology looks at the body as the triad of health. So meaning it's like a triangle. So structural, biochemical, emotional, and then we're looking to balance out the triad. So everything is interlinked. If one side of the equilateral triangle falls, the rest of it does as well. And so how do we really get to the root cause? How do we really get to a space where we can figure out what is actually happening? Because the symptom is the smoke signal. It's not the problem, but what we tend to focus on when we're experiencing discomfort, pain, headaches, digestive issues, sleep issues, menstruation issues, hormonal things, whatever it may be, is all of these things that are the symptoms. And what I can tell you is that we don't treat the symptoms, we treat the person, the body. And when the body is in balance, it's able to thrive. And it's just remarkable to see, but it's really important to be able to know the right questions to ask, to know how to navigate into, where the imbalance is and all that kind of stuff. So applied kinesiology uses muscle testing as a diagnostic tool. It allows us to tap in and really find out what's priority for the body. So we really believe in priority, that priority matters, and that the body needs to be unwound the way that it was wound up. So on the structural side of things, we're looking at your spine. We're looking at adjusting you, not all high velocity, but we do believe in setting the spine and creating a greater state of communication in your nervous system. And, we also look at different things like how homeopathy can impact the spine and the structures in your body. Using myofascial technique type work, using kinesio tape. We use, so many different techniques. We use sacral occipital technique blocks, and we do cranial work. We also I do a technique called quantum neurology, which looks at rebalancing the nervous system. So, it has been known to pull people out of stroke symptoms. Does it fix the stroke? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just helping to re-educate the nerves in the body when things have gone awry, like something as extreme as a stroke. So I want to be very clear about that. But it can reconnect the brain with the brain, the different cortices of the brain. It can reconnect the brain with the body and the body with the brain. It can get your cranial nerves kind of firing again. So between that and another technique called Neuralink, it's just fantastic to be able to delve in and really get the communication system of our body up and running, because without it, there's just no way. I mean, there is no way we can be optimal if our nervous system is all awry and confused. It's like that game of telephone way back when, where you would sit in a circle and I would start us with some kind of secret, some kind of long-winded something, and it would be passed around the circle. And by the time it got to the last person, it would be something completely different. It just, like, the more people it had to go through, the more the message actually got kind of kinked up, So that being said, it's the same thing in our body. If we have subluxations or different areas in our body that are kinked, then the nervous system, when it's going to communicate that it needs something from the brain or the brain to the body, it's got that many more kinks to get through. It's not quite communicating as efficiently and as effectively. And then again, there's just no way that our body can function optimally. It takes so much more energy to get that same message that could happen, like, in less than a snap of a finger, and it can take even longer. And so now our energy output is that much more. So a lot of people that are just exhausted, it's just, it can come from even just the inefficiencies of our body. So a lot of people will say, it's just because I'm getting older. And I said, no, just because you've been sitting with your stuff for longer. So, I see 70, 80, and 90-year-olds that sometimes can run circles and are much healthier than some of my 20, 30, and 40-year-olds. So it truly doesn't have anything to do with age. It really has to do with how quickly the body is degenerating, or if you've gotten an opportunity to work with someone like myself and to be able to get the body into a regenerative cycle. Once it connects in that way, then it's pretty cool to see things begin to shift and change and regenerate in the body. That's the brilliance of the body. And that's how healing happens, So, yeah. So if you have questions, feel free. I can't see the questions on Facebook, but I will get around to answering any questions that come in. And Instagram, I can see those, as well as on Zoom. So feel free, ask questions. I encourage it. I'm here for you all. And so you can guide this class however it happens. I will say that we're looking forward to getting back to in-person dinner with the doctors. It's so much more fun. It's so much more interactive. We'll still be live, but it's really incredible to be able to do demonstrations. And again, just to bring community together. And I think we're all a little bit hungry for some more community and connection these days, depending on where we're at in our health. And so that being said, today's topic is healthy holidays, and really how to get through the holidays more healthfully. And, I wrote a blog about it, and I'm going to kind of use that a little bit as a guide, so that I can not forget some of the fun recipe ideas and things that I have for you. But, we get inundated right around this time of year, moving into the next few months, with the flu season. And, now we also have COVID that's going on. And so people everywhere seem to be getting sick. And often the correlation is not made with poor eating habits being connected to our health, but clinically we see it all the time. And because certain foods, junk food specifically, makes us feel like junk. And the reason is that it decreases the function of our immune system. It lowers our immune system's response, and it makes us more susceptible. And then, the cold weather, not getting enough sleep, eating tons of sugar. It's like, it starts with Halloween and it moves through New Year's, and then everyone feels disgusting. And then hopefully they can dig themselves out of a hole and set all the New Year's resolutions and then try to start it again. And it has nothing to do with like weight loss or not. It has to do truly with the fuel that we put into our body, and that the fuel we put in affects how we function. There's just no getting around it. And, so usually we end up consuming an exorbitant amount of sugar, starting with Halloween, in the form of breads, cookies, pies, pastas, candies, and things like that. And all it does is set the tone for inflammation. Inflammation is what lowers the immune system. Inflammation is the breeding ground of pathology, meaning it literally yields most illnesses, if not all. That's where it begins. Inflammation, yielding autoimmune diseases. Inflammation, chronic inflammatory colitis, or, inflammatory bowel issues, right? Inflammation is in the term. Our joints hurt, we get arthritic, that's inflammation. So we want to cool things down. We don't want so much heat. We don't want so much inflammation. And really the name of the game of that is whole food and eating, proteins and veggies, good fats. In general, we talk about the 5 basics. So water, food, rest, exercise, and owning your power, all with quality, quantity, and frequency. So with water, 70 to 90% of our body is water. I've got my water right here. So 90% of our brain. If we do not give our body good quality water and with frequency, there is no way that we can function optimally. There's just no way. So good quality water is not tap water. It's not Brita water either, which sort of gets rid of some chlorine. I think there's a system called AquaTrue. There's a system called Zero Water. Aquasana is another purification system. Berkey is a countertop system like Zero Water. All relatively inexpensive, like Zero Water and Berkey are a few $100 for the countertop. You need good quality water to drink and to cook with, period, to make your coffee and tea with. Don't just because your water is getting hot think that tap water is the better choice for making your coffee and tea. You want to get something of better quality. So make sure that you are grabbing good quality water and drinking it with frequency, because your kidneys can only handle like about 8 to 10 ounces of water every half an hour. So if you guzzle and like nothing for hours, you still are only integrating maybe a glass worth. And so you do yourself a disservice. You can help like flush your system that way, but in terms of absorbing and hydrating, it's very different. So yeah, the Berkey is so worth the purchase. It's awesome water, tastes great. I'm totally a water snob. I can't even pretend to like sip on chlorinated tap water at a restaurant. It's like, I can't do it. It's so foul. It's so foul. Once you get used to really good water, you'll be able to tell when it's not. And I think it's really, really important. So, yeah. So anyway, okay. So let me just stick with the 5 basics, because I'm being pulled in a couple different directions here. So water with quality, quantity, and frequency. Food, which we are going to talk a little bit more in depth about with regards to the holidays, like how are you going to do it better this year maybe than last? And how can you move through it with a little bit more consciousness and to be healthier? But in general with food, you're avoiding what we call the 5 pillars of death, basically: wheat and gluten, sugar, corn, soy, and dairy. And, wheat and corn are just sprayed so highly with Roundup, which is glyphosate. It actually blocks absorption of nourishment, nutrients, messes with our gut. And, so I'm not sure that there's so many allergies to the grains themselves, although grains are inflammatory. So again, if you're having pathology and imbalance, you don't want to put more stuff in you that is creating inflammation. So you want to kind of cool that down. So obviously grains are not going to be ideal because they can and often do inflame. And so, corn and wheat and gluten, they affect our liver, I think, because of how much they're sprayed, and they just create havoc in our system. Soy is estrogenic in nature. It affects our thyroid. It's just not great. All the research done on soy was done on fermented soy, which tastes awful. Fermented soy has anti-cancer benefits. There's some really cool research on that. It was never meant to be a protein replacement though. It's an incomplete protein. It's not good. There's so many non-dairy substitutes that you can use milk-wise. And if you're looking to get protein and you're a vegetarian or vegan, one, there's still certain nourishment that you're going to need to supplement because your brain can never quite function as well as it can in that way, because there's specific neurotransmitters that you get from specific foods that aren't available when you're vegan or vegetarian. So I like to supplement that if needed. But I will say that like sunflower seeds with pumpkin seeds together make a complete protein. But again, with seeds and nuts, you need to soak them so that the protein is available for your body to actually have. Otherwise, it just processes kind of like a fat, or you don't really get the nourishment from it. So if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you need to learn how to do it healthfully. There are a lot of ways to do it, and there are many ways not to. Most people do it the way you shouldn't, and they end up with more health issues without. I had a reflexologist actually who went vegetarian. He thought he was being so healthy, and he gained 100 and something pounds. He didn't even really realize it because he thought he was being so healthy until he couldn't fit into the bathtub. And he ended up being like, I think a few hundred pounds overweight. He totally shifted, went into whole food, had to limit which proteins he could eat because certain proteins were sensitivities to him, like fish didn't work for him. He found the proteins that work for him, like lamb and turkey, I think, and some other things. And he integrated that with vegetables and good fats, and he dropped, I think 300, I don't know, something like 300 pounds or 200 pounds. It was something astronomical, but all of that weight got put on by being a vegetarian. And I'm telling you, I just see so many issues when someone's a vegan or vegetarian with inflammation, unless they're doing it in a really, really smart way. It's such a rarity that I see that. And generally those folks are so conscious, they're knowing of the supplements that they need, specifically the essential amino acids that they may not be getting. The building block of our body is amino acids. So if we don't have that, we're in trouble. Dairy, sugar, inflammatory. Dairy, sugar, inflammatory. They're mucus producing. They make us feel like crap. Okay. They're junk and they make us feel like junk, but they're very, very, very addicting. So it's easier said than done, I realize. Dr. Abby and I created a program called the 30-Day Reset. It's a self-led program, or we're at the beginning of each year, we do a live portion. So you can sign up for the live portion. Excuse me. We have a special coming up for sort of like Black Friday kind of thing. That'll save you $50 on it. So it'll be like $149 for the 30-day reset. Once you have it, you'll have it forever. You'll be a part of the community and be supported and walk through. But it has everything from, mindfulness, meditation practices, everything guided online. So you can do it at your own pace. You can go as quick or as slow as you desire. But ultimately in the live portion, we kind of hold your hand through it. A lot of people prefer just the self-led and to do it their own way. We created it so you can be successful either way, but it ultimately gives you, grocery lists, meal plans, different recipes, and all kinds of things. So once you purchase it, you have it for life. So consider, checking that out. It's on our website. It's called the 30-Day Reset, but it is really hard to get off sugar. And ultimately that 30-day reset, the goal is getting you off of sugar and kind of walking you through how to do that. And, shifting you so that you don't feel deprived. And the whole thing is like, you should not have or feel deprivation. And that's the same thing with moving into the holidays. You shouldn't feel like you're being deprived of, of things that you like desserts. If you love to have a sweet treat in the evening or after a meal, you should be able to have a sweet treat. It just can be done in a conscious way that doesn't mess with you. So we'll talk about that shortly. So those are the 5 things you want to avoid. You want to eat proteins, you want to eat veggies, you want to eat good fats, grains sparingly, little bit of fruit, keep it with whole food. Everything feels better when you eat like you're living off the land. Like if it's wild fish, if it's grass-fed, organic, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, beef and chicken and things like that, you'll feel better. when the cattle is fed crap like corn that actually isn't meant even for humans to consume, and it eats their own gut, it's really gross. That's not a great thing for us to put into our body, because then we're getting it secondhand. So grass-fed is going to be your better choice. If you have a choice, choose it. Sometimes you don't. All you can do is your best. So don't get crazy. This isn't meant to create stress in your life, because stress is not a good thing either. That can create inflammation, but it's just really to be a guide for you so that you can know what to do. When we rest, we restore. It allows us to heal. It is so important. I'm learning that myself right now more than ever. Rest allows you to restore. And, we just generally don't give ourselves enough rest. We say yes to everything. We're trying to please everybody around us. And then we're last on the list. And it just can't fly. It can't work too well, for too long. So, consider that exercise, movement, balance in your body. It's always going to make you feel better. So doing that's going to feel really great always. But there are incorrect ways to exercise. We've done lots of different, excuse me. We've done lots of different, courses in orthodox on how you can best exercise. But if you are going balls to the wall, crazy, your heart rate is, in the 180s, 200, whatever, it's way too high that you're burning sugar, not fat. And so your system doesn't know how to efficiently then utilize energy. On top of that, you start burning out your adrenal glands, and your adrenal glands help you handle stress. So most of us are already adrenally strained. So you don't want to make it worse, is what I'm trying to say. So exercise the right way, get a heart rate monitor instead of 220 minus your age. Ideally, the rate is 180 minus your age, usually minus 10. And that's going to be, your best bet to kind of stay around that. That's Dr. Phil Maffetone's work. And again, that's for another time. That's been another talk. We could do an hour to 5 hours on that talk just alone on the exercise, but it is important to get your lymphatics flowing, to get your body moving, to, get your system rocking. Even just swift walking every day is amazing. So you just going around the block a few times can make all the difference in somebody's life. And then lastly, it's owning your power in terms of the 5 basics, owning your power with quality, quantity, and frequency. So that's, speaking your truth, living your passion. If you don't have a passion and a reason to get out of bed in the morning, it's really hard to consider not eating junk food and drinking good quality water. So to me, it's just as important to really find and live from that space of your passion and the things that you love to do. So those are the 5 basics. And that's sort of the gist of how we move and work with people at Be Optimal in terms of like creating foundational support. There's your 5 basics. You do those and life's going to definitely be better for you in terms of your health. So how many of you actually threw away candy or even bought candy, first of all, to give away, and then actually threw it away or gave it away completely once Halloween was over? It's like not many people do. They leave that bowl, and then every time they pass the bowl of candy, because there's a few dozen pieces left, and they of course purchase the one they like the most, and then they take a little taste each time, and that adds up. As someone posted something on Instagram, she does fitness and stuff, and it was like one travel size like Twix was like 20 burpees or something, and like one small like sample size Milky Way was like 55 jumping jacks in terms of calories, or like 100 jumping jacks or whatever it was. And it was like pretty amazing. I was like, wow, just something that little takes that much exercise and energy to burn just one little thing. Is like, is that really worth it? I don't know. I mean, sometimes it might be, but most of the time I would say probably not. And certainly not for like chintzy, crappy candy. So I highly recommend considering purchasing like spider rings, pencils, stickers, other goodies. You won't be the favorite house. Who cares? You won't really be participating in the ridiculousness of lowering people's immune systems. And you won't be tempted to like eat out of that bowl of candy for, 2 to 5 weeks straight. Cause that's ultimately what happens. People get it a couple weeks prior, it's like September and already like there's a Halloween candy being put out. It's crazy. The other thing that you can do with kids is after trick-or-treating, they get to choose 5 to 10 pieces of candy. That's the candy they get to eat. And then the rest of it gets to be donated, or you can do something, a couple of one of our chiropractic friends, she calls it the switch witch, like the tooth fairy. The switch witch is going to come and take the candy away, and then you get a gift. So it's like a $25 gift certificate to Target or Amazon, or maybe it's their favorite toy or whatever. So they're so excited to like choose their 5 to 10 pieces of candy, and then they get to contribute, and the switch witch comes, and then they get like a toy or something like that. But you can do that for yourself too. Donate it and get yourself a $20 something, but that is a better way to begin this sort of holiday season, because truly it starts with Halloween and all that candy eating. And then we start having cravings because it's so darn addicting that we sort of then are moving quickly into Thanksgiving, and that's sort of like pies. People love pies, and cakes and breads, like bready things, cornbread. And so it's like, what can you do instead of all of that? And, one of the things I would say is you've got to integrate raw food with everything, because raw vegetables and things like that have naturally occurring enzymes. They just help you kind of break things down. That being said, you really should give yourself enzymes, digestive enzymes, and take it supplementally. It should be taken all the times of the year, but especially when you tend to be eating a little bit more than you normally would. You want to make sure that you are taking digestive enzymes. There are specific enzymes that can help break down gluten and casein, which tend to be things that even when we generally want to avoid them, we tend to eat a little bit more of them during the holiday season. So Similase GFCF is something we sell in our store. And again, it's got DPP4 in it, which breaks everything down, but it's also got, enzymes that break down gluten and casein. So that can be helpful. Raw vegetables and beans and things like that might be very sensitive. There's specific enzymes to break down beans and veggies. And then there's just multizymes. You take a bunch of enzymes prior to eating your meal so that you can help break down your food more efficiently and effectively. You're less tired after the meals. You're less inflamed after the meals. And when whole food ends up moving through the system, it's not broken down efficiently or small enough, we end up getting food particles, it's sort of like leaky gut. And that is what creates systemic inflammation. So digestive enzymes are really, truly, like, to me, they're non-negotiable for optimal health. And same with getting on a good sporobiotic, even beyond a probiotic. I believe in sporobiotics because they're so much more efficient and effective in the system. 99% of them get through your stomach lining, where probiotic, we're lucky if 3 to 5% get through with a cell wall around them. So you want to get on sporobiotic. Sporobiotic is very different than enzymes. And for some reason, people confuse those two things. They think that enzymes are probiotics. It's not. Enzymes break your food down efficiently and effectively. As we age, we don't do as good of a job. And some of us aren't even born with a proper amount of, enzymes, enzymatic support, and our microbiome is not very diverse, and, things like that. So we're just not efficient in our gut health anyway. So we always want to support that, especially as we're aging. And then, the sporobiotic is going to diversify your microbiome and help rebuild it. So it gets the good bacteria and the good stuff in there that helps boost your immune system. Your strongest space for your immune system to be, really supporting you is gut health. It starts there. So I can't stress it enough. We have probably, 6, 7, maybe 8 different enzymes in our office. Come check it out. Any enzyme will do. Some are better than others for specific people. And that's really the work we do. So if you have an appointment with us, we can muscle test and, find out what's going to be the best supplements for you and the best enzymes for you. but we have a handful of different ones that are just safe and wonderful for just anybody that needs it. And I highly recommend it. So make sure that you're doing that through the holidays. You just got to, when you're having a cocktail or a mocktail, do it without the added sugars, without the juice and the liquid sweeteners and the sodas. Use plain or flavored sparkling water. You can use fresh herbs like mint or basil. You can smush some strawberries or some kind of fruit into it. So you like natural sugars, do your shot of alcohol, a little squeeze of lemon or an orange or something like that. If you want it sweeter, you can always use monk fruit sweetener. You can use maple sugar. You can use coconut sugar. Even when you're baking, consider replacing coconut sugar or monk fruit sweetener or maple sugar, instead of using refined sugar. It's still going to be yummy, but it's just not going to be as bad for your body. Monk fruit, be careful. It can be a little intense when you're cooking. So just kind of look. Stevia is another option. So just kind of look and see, and find recipes, but you can always find alternatives that kind of equate to what the refined sugar would be and use that instead. Use unsweetened almond milk instead of the milk and dairy. Most people won't even notice. It's a delicious treat that you've baked and it's delicious. It's yummy. And it shouldn't really matter. So that's a great option. So some other recipe ideas, instead of mashed potatoes, you can try mashed cauliflower. They're not good the next day, but they're delicious right out of the steamer. So you steam the cauliflower, you blend it with some grass-fed butter, maybe some pressed garlic, maybe some chives, if you want, a little sea salt. You can add a little unsweetened almond milk if needed, and, blend it up, put it in a food processor, and they are delicious. You almost cannot tell the difference between mashed potatoes. I've done that and had people not know, including kids. So yeah, you just serve that underneath your shepherd's pie or whatever not pie, but not with the pie crust, but like the, what do you call it? Where it's like beef and veggies and root vegetables and stuff. And you serve it over. It's so yummy. So you can do that. You can put that underneath your baked salmon, whatever. Appetizers, instead of cheese, fried or breaded items, you can try raw veggies with like a ranch or spinach dip made with dairy-free alternatives. If you guys are familiar with almond milk cream cheese, like Kite Hill, they have a chive cream cheese too. That's awesome. And it's made from almond milk. It doesn't have crap in it. It's pretty great. And there's some like raw ones too. They're pretty expensive though, that you can find at Thrive Market. But those are great choices. And honestly, you can just put out that chive dairy-free cream cheese as a dip and use that with your veggies. And it's really yummy. You can do prosciutto wrapped asparagus. You can wrap dates with bacon and put them in your air fryer. Get a little hit of protein, and then you get a little hit of vegetables. So I highly recommend that if you're going to a party, make one of these dishes, make something like that, that you can eat. First of all, don't go crazy hungry either. If you go hungry, you're going to end up eating a whole lot of things that probably aren't great for you and fill up on, cakes and crap that are very tempting. So don't go too hungry, but also always bring a dish that's going to satisfy you. So like a protein with vegetable kind of dish, like shrimp cocktail or the bacon wrapped dates or the prosciutto, something that no matter what, you can eat, if nothing else there that you can eat, so that you don't feel left out. You still have something that you can do. So, bring a yummy dish to the festivities, and then you don't feel left out. So those are some ideas. I just got an air fryer. I'll be coming back to you probably in the next month or two with more ideas. I'm very pumped about it because it makes everything taste better, and you don't use any of the oil. And it makes everything like, who doesn't like a French fry? So you can make sweet potato fries and, like I had sea bass. Someone made sea bass out of the air fryer. It tasted like butter. It literally tasted like like it soaked in butter for hours, and she didn't even use butter. So it was unbelievable. I cannot tell you enough. I'm very pumped about my air fryer. They have a special running at Costco right now for kind of a big air fryer. It's kind of big, but it's Sur La Table, like 13 quart, whatever, air fryer. it's like 40 bucks off. So it was like $80 for this like huge air fryer. I'm like very pumped. And the other thing that it has is like skewers. So you could, instead of grilling, you could skewer like meat and veggies and air fry it. It has a rotisserie in there, and you could rotisserie an entire chicken for yourself, literally. And it has a basket where you can make your own chicken wings without frying them, but they have the same flavor and taste of like if you fried them. So anyway, I'm kind of pumped to try this air fryer thing. I'll be back to you on that because I got to try it for myself. But the other things that you guys can do to just keep yourself healthy during the holidays, to keep yourself boosted, to keep yourself better is, we talked about this already, but I'm going to say it again, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, stay hydrated, stay hydrated. Pathology cannot grow in a hydrated environment. It just can't. It drowns. So stay hydrated. Make sure you're getting enough rest. You know, you might need to say no to a couple things so that you have more balance. And just be smart. The other thing is chiropractic care. I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. I'm a chiropractor. So, you know, chiropractic adjustments, actually, research shows that with every adjustment, it can boost your system up to 30% just with an adjustment. One adjustment can boost the system, your immune system. So make sure that you're getting, you know, keeping your lymphatics flowing, keeping your exercise on, you know, making sure you're getting rest, but make sure that your nervous system is healthy and happy and communicating well, because without that, there's just no way that you can function optimally. So make sure you're scheduling your chiropractic treatments. Chiropractic's powerful. It really is. It's almost like it turns the lights on instantaneously. It's pretty incredible. So make sure that you're doing that. You know, remember that it's okay to not eat something. A lot of times I'll feel sort of like, I don't know. And then I think to myself, you know, if I'm really craving a piece of chocolate cake, like I'll go out tomorrow and get that chocolate cake. Maybe I'll get it from the gluten-free bakery so I can feel a bit better. And usually I'm like, thank God I didn't eat that cake. I feel so much better. I don't feel cloudy, and I don't really give a shit about it the next day. I just don't care to go out and do it. You know, and every now and again, you still are going to care, and you're going to want that. And then you treat yourself. Don't deprive yourself, but maybe treat yourself with something that's a little bit more conscious. So again, like a gluten-free place, or maybe make it so that you can make it without refined sugar. The problem with a lot of those gluten-free products is they're made with tons of refined sugar and unhealthy oils and fats. So it'd be better. I'm the worst baker in the world. So I mean, I have to really be craving something to bake anything, I got to tell you, but I have done it. I have done it where I'll make it with a better choice of sugar, you know, and a gluten-free flour and non-dairy milk. And I tell you, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all, you know, like making kind of a lemon cake with just tons of fresh lemon. And so there are tons of recipes out there. You can always find an alternative. And again, if you want a sweet treat at a party you're going to, make some sweet treats. Pick up some things that you know are a healthier option, where, you know, if you had 2 or 3 of them, you could still feel good about it. I will often bring a protein vegetable item and a sweet something when I'm going to a party, because I want to be able to eat and know that I'll have an option of something that I can eat without, again, feeling like left out or being tempted to eat crap that will make me feel terrible and ultimately weaken my immune system. It's not worth it. So I know I'm like a broken record at this point. But I'm going to stop the recording at this point and take me off of the live spaces, and then I'll be available to those on Zoom for any questions that you might have. So